Hey guys, today we're at Erie on King Street in historic Charleston, South Carolina.
We'll be interviewing Senior Store Team Lead and Store Manager of the Year, Terry Ferguson. This is another episode of Stockroom Sessions.
Hey guys, my name is Terry Ferguson. I'm the Senior Store Team Leader out of Orlando, Vineland, and I've been here with American Eagle for 10 years now.
So there have been some reports out there that claim American Eagle built you in a lab to be the perfect store manager. How do you respond to those allegations?
You know what? I'm not saying it's not true. I'm not saying it is true, but so far it's been a good run.
All right, but a real one, if you could tell us a little bit about your background and kind of how you got to where you're at right now.
Yeah, I've been in retail for 20 years now. It's crazy that it's been 20 years. I started on a little volume store in Destin, Florida. I still don't know why I left the white sandy beaches and emerald green waters for Orlando. But I grew up in a low volume store for 6.5 years. Ended up coming to Orlando with Calvin Klein. I worked there for 10 years and went through that whole journey into high volume. Then left there, became the area manager for Movado with Accessible Luxury. Found out that, listen, I missed the fast pace, the high traffic, big units, and then connected with Sandy Midlam. And I actually got hired on to train at Vineland to open up our International Drive location. Ran that store for 5 years, took them through the new store opening, side by side, and then took a step back to become the associate manager. And then when the opportunity came up, I became the store team leader at Vineland. And then last June, I got promoted to a senior store team leader. So it's been 10 years. It's been a whole journey through the last 10 years.
For those who have no idea, what volume is your store?
So in a normal year, when we're not in this renovation and temp space, we do $11 million.
All right, with such a busy store, that can't be a job for everyone. How do you retain and how do you develop your top talent?
Listen, for me, it's about just leaning into the best talent. So, I'm out networking, I'm recruiting, we're training, we set development plans. We're very intentional with what we have to do from a training standpoint. And so there's always something that we're learning and growing, all to deliver those key metrics and reports. So it's a lot of planning, a lot of planning.
Gotcha. One of the things that I've heard about your store in particular is that it's moved several times. What's the most difficult part of moving a store like that?
100% waiting for construction. If construction is going to be done, right? Because we build the plans, build the schedule, set everything in, and then construction says, hey, we don't have the permit. Yeah, you got to move it. So we've moved dates, and we moved 3 times in the past year. We just got one more move to go, and we're done. So the construction.
Do you
I
have
love
a
those guys, but I hate them. We have a love-hate relationship.
Do you have like a construction hat that you wear? You just go over and help them out from time to time?
Yeah, pretty much at this point in my resume, I should just put NSO, general contractor, because I'm in there every day. I think they're tired of seeing me at this point.
All right, since being at AE, what is the coolest thing that you've gotten to be a part of?
So if I think about the coolest thing, it's really a tie for me. There's 2 different things. 2015, there was a giant conference that came to Orlando. We brought every store manager in from across the fleet, every district manager, everybody was in town. They actually built the holiday floor set for us in the bottom floor of the hotel. So we got to walk through the product, touch it, see it. It snowed in Orlando that week. So we walked into the conference room and it's snowing from the ceiling. The AE Aerie models were here. We did a fashion show. It was such like a giant pep rally that moment will always remember that moment. And then the other thing that really ties for me is just our main month of service. We give back. We've been fortunate to impact something that's near and dear to my heart with the United Cerebral Palsy Foundation. And, we've given them $13,000 over the last couple of years, but to always give back to them and to be such a big thing for the company is probably the coolest things I've got to do.
With such a busy store and so many managers, how do you keep track of all of them? How many managers do you have, by the way?
Yeah, so from senior VAs up, I have 14 leaders that I try to track and listen. Sometimes I lose track of them, right? So it really comes to my associate managers that help. I have an associate selling and associate merchandise team leader. They're like my store managers in the store. So really working through my people is what kind of helped me keep everybody on track. But listen, let me tell you, it's a lot of planning, intentional development, intentional planning. I have to kind of really build my calendar around different focuses through each week. So I know what we're going after to kind of build them up into the next role. But for me, it's all about building talent. And that's, listen, that's what I keep in mind as I keep them in front of me.
So what is the one skill you have to transfer from a smaller tier 3 store to a bigger tier 1?
Listen, flexibility. Things change every time you turn around, right? I grew up in low volume, so it allows you the opportunity to really kind of hone your craft and learn a lot of things. And you think, hey, we're just going to transfer that to a high volume store. But you have ups, you have downs, everything in between, and you got to be flexible because you never know what's coming your way. So just kind of keep it in front of you and be flexible.
When did you figure out that you won the store team leader of the year?
So funny story. I actually was doing my review with Lori, and we're kind of talking through things. I just really wanted to win a gold and diamond. That was my goal for the year, and we're kind of chatting through. And I said, hey, it'd be great if I won this. I'd be so honored for it. And she just kind of looked at me and said, yeah, it's all great to have goals, and just kept moving. And I was like, okay, well, I guess I didn't win that one. And then all the district managers for the region were in town doing OLR. And they said, hey, we want you to come out have dinner with us one day. So I drive to town. I'm running late because I got stuck on I-4 traffic. I'm like, great, I'm going to be late to this. And she meets me in the parking lot, which I thought was super strange. I was like, okay, I can find where we are in here. And I walk in and they have my name in balloons and a sign. And I was shocked. I was speechless at it. But it's such a great moment to be part of. But yeah, basically a surprise party is how I found out.
That's cool. So has it sunk in yet that 1,000 stores and you're the one?
Honestly, I don't know if it's sunk in yet. I think people keep bringing it up and saying it. I'm so grateful. I'm so honored to be that. But it's been a lot of work, and really, I'm lucky to be named it. But it really comes from my team, and so I think as people keep bringing it up and reminding me that I'm the store team leader of the year, it's heartwarming. But no, it hasn't sunk in yet.
Now that you're a senior store team leader, how do your responsibilities differ from when you were just an STL?
Yeah, so really, when I think STLs to or a store team leader to a senior store team leader, I still get to do all the great stuff that an STL gets to do, but on a much bigger scale. So I oversee multiple stores. So right now I oversee Vineland and Florida Mall, and so really kind of looking through that lens of how I'm leading another store team leader as not the store team leader, right? So there's things as the store team leader you look to do, and you're like, listen, I'm going to jump in, I'm going to do it, I'm going to go. And this one, I got to kind of step back almost as a DTL and really kind of get the buy-in and help that store team leader get to where they want to go. So I get to do that. I get the opportunity to join all the DTL calls and all the initiatives that we're going through that. And it allows me to have just a little bit bigger voice and handle on the talent and everything that we really want to do from Orlando and across the region.
With an $11 million store, what trait do you need to not only have to survive, but to thrive?
And you got to be persistent. You're going to have good times. You're going to have bad times, everything in between. I've been through amazing visits. I've been through really tough visits, and you got to be able to bounce back and know that, listen, success isn't forever, and failure is not final. So, just keep moving through, be persistent, and just know that celebrate the good times and try to avoid the bad times, I guess.
You've been with American Eagle now, what, over 10 years? Who is someone that's had the biggest impact on your development?
Yeah, if I think about my time at American Eagle, I've had such a journey over the last 10 years, but really the last 5 years have been so impactful for me. So I go with the biggest impact. Obviously, Tamara's had such a big impact, and I think a lot of us, but personal day-to-day is really my DTL Lori. So I think, her teaching me to, be vulnerable. I think in these STL roles, we look and say, hey, we got to be perfect and we got to show everybody we're perfect. But sometimes there's lessons to be learned in the not so good moments. And there's a story to tell there. So to be able to share that, be vulnerable, be a champion of talent, continue there, and then just be the cheerleader, celebrate, which isn't always my first instinct to go to. But I've definitely learned to be a cheerleader. So
you mentioned something about kind of, being vulnerable, letting your guard down. How do you do that for somebody that maybe that's not their natural, the way they like to be? What would you tell somebody?
I think it's just sharing your journey, right? I think we've all had our journey in retail where There's things that we're really proud of and things we're not so proud of, or, tough moments or harsh feedback. I think just being able to kind of talk through it, ask questions, share that journey, share that story, because there's always something to learn from it. And as you kind of talk through your own journey, you really kind of find the vulnerability to it.
Right now, if you could just look into the camera and maybe talk to somebody who's wanting to be a senior store team lead or wants to run, a really big tier 1, what's one thing you might want to say to them?
Yeah, so listen, if you want to be a senior store team leader, or a high volume store manager, anything has to be, is you just got to find your voice. Use your voice, use your influence, find innovative ways to really kind of drive and lead the brand and your store, your market. And that's how you show up every day and really make an impact.
We're going to the rapid fire section. So with the rapid fire section, just the first thing that pops into your head, it's like Family Feud. We're going to put 30 seconds on the clock. Terry, are you ready?
Let's do it.
So if you could be any Disney character, who would it be?
Goofy.
What was the first car you had, and did it have a name?
Yeah, my first car was a 1991 Chevy S10 Blazer. It was not sexy. It was not beautiful, but it got me where I needed to go. But no, it did not have a name.
What was your favorite cartoon to watch as a kid?
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, hands down.
Which Ninja Turtle do you see yourself as most?
Raphael, always red.
That's the correct answer. You passed. Congratulations.
All right. If you were a kitchen appliance, which one would you be?
Probably the mixing stand mixer that's on the counter. Because listen, it just mixes everything up. It gets everything ready to go. So I'm gonna go with that one.
What's your favorite place to visit in the entire world?
Listen, I'm from the Northeast, so Boston always has a special place in my heart. The food, the culture, the people. So always when I get a chance, I go back to Boston.
If animals could talk, which one would be the rudest?
Probably cats. I don't even have a cat, but they'd probably be the rudest.
Right.
Let me check. Did he get it in time? You got it in time, so you do get the prize. This is actually super special. Nobody else has seen this yet. This is a first run edition. Before anybody else hits it, before it hits newsstands, we wanted to show you first. But Terry?
We have the first copy of Time Magazine's Person of the Year.
Terry, can you see?
I love it.
What can't he do, people?
You can get this soon enough on newsstands.
Terry.
You have way too much time in your hands. Way too much time.
Terry, thank you so much for being here and doing this with us. This was awesome. Give it up, everybody. Terry Ferguson, Store Team Leader of the Year. Thanks so much for being here today, guys.
Hope to see you in a stockroom near you.
So I just made me look good.
That's right.
Good,
There you go.